What's up, everybody? It's Omar from the Bullish Bears team. It is Sunday, June 18th, 8:34 p.m., and I'm redoing my watch list video. I did it earlier, and I apologize. The audio didn't work. So I'm just gonna take a different approach. I already built the watch list, so I'm just gonna go through the watch list and just point out why they're on my watch list. And I want to wish a happy Father's Day, to all the fathers out there. And today's my birthday, actually. So I was out all day enjoying it. Been drinking all weekend. Tomorrow back to the grind. So over here to the left is my watch list. And again, if you remember to follow me, watchotrade. I'm on Twitter. I got a YouTube page. Please share and subscribe. I'm on the Bullish Bears team. We're on Facebook, nearing 10,000 subscribers, which is incredible. So just send a request and we'll add you. The link is on my. If you go to my right here, this link on my Twitter. This is the link to the Bullish Bears group, and this is my course that you can take. And so I really appreciate anybody who decides to follow. With that said, let's just go through the list. So this is the list for tomorrow, and in the video I did earlier today, I went through a lot of detail, but because it's late, I'm just gonna run through this quickly. So OWCP is on my watch list. Now this is crap. Now the reason why I put it on my watch list is because you're gonna notice that the other two stocks on my watch list, CMBX and CAN, on my watch list as well, because they're all wheat stocks and they're all, if you notice, gapping up. So over the last 5 days, this is a 5-day 5-minute chart here to the right. This is the 2-day 1-minute chart. And if you notice, if I go back to OWCP, look, it's starting to spike up. CMBX starting to spike up as well. So, and CAN, is another stock. Since it was 125, it's gapping up. This is going to be a great short. It's going to be hard to find shares to short of this. I got my account open with, should officially be open hopefully tomorrow with the center point. So I should be able to get locates to short this because this is crap. But they all may continue to run before they're crap. So again, my criteria when I look for stocks, this is my scan that I use. I look for stocks between 20 cents and $30 that have a minimum volume of 500,000 shares that are up 5%. You hit scan, and we have 75 plays, stocks appear. And I just went through each of these stocks in the earlier video. I deleted it just so I can just, because they had no sound. It wasn't worth leaving there. And these are the stocks that I went through on the watch list. So this is that actual scan here on the side. I basically went through all of them already. So what I expect these stocks to do tomorrow, who knows? I mean, CAN, out of the three, the safest would be CAN, because I'm most familiar with CAN, to be honest with you. I've traded this several times. If I pull up the yearly chart, and for all of them, they've all had the same run. Look at this. Back in September of 2016, this thing started its run. And, it would have a move, like a few green days, and have this nice pullback, then have a nice gap up, then have a nice pullback. And you can see, this is the 13 EMA on the yearly chart. And it had this big gap up, and look at this total collapse. And then it came all the way back up to $5, a total collapse. So I think that's what's going to happen again. It looks like it's set and then, completely, collapsed. But if we look here, look what's happening. So over the last, you had these 2 days, right? So it gapped on June 8th. It opened at 116, hit a high, no volume, 134,000 shares. But, it hit a high of 119, closed at 117. Then, gapped up again. It's getting more, now it has more volume. There's 210,000 shares. And then on this day, it had 144,000 shares, and then it kind of came back down. But now, look, it's gapping up. And as of Friday, this thing had 800,000 shares. So traded 857,000 shares. So, it's probably going to pull back tomorrow, but expect this to continue to move because it's a pump. All right, and that's what they do. They pump the stock, drive it up, and then all the people that are in on the pump pull their money out the stock, and then it crashes. But so expect the same for OWCP and CMBX. All right, same process. If you look at the yearlies on both of those as well, they were doing the same thing. Back in January, this stock went from was at 83 cents all the way up to $7. So it's pretty wild. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it starts getting some value. Maybe worth a swing. But they're pumps, guys. So don't believe that these companies are worth anything. They're dog shit. All right. Next up, HOS. So HOS This is on my watch list because, you know, it ran on news. It had this crazy spike. I had a friend actually watching this, and I walked him through a short play. So these are the stocks that I love to short. You'll find these again and again and again where, you know, the stock sort of, the market opens and you see it's not doing anything. It's kind of consolidating, and then it has this sort of pullback here, and it gets down to $2, and it has this U-shaped pattern, and then the stock just spikes, right? So when I see stocks spike like this, and the spike started at like what is it, 10:05, by 10:45 it was at 293. What I love to do is wait for that top to form, and you know, you get the top, you're gonna see the high of day bubble, and what you normally see is that reverse top happens. So you see how it comes down to the 9 EMA, bounces up for this lower high. So here, this is high of day, this is high of day, this is the lower high right here, and right here is where you take your short position, risking high of day. And I had a friend do this. I didn't trade it, but I had a friend. I walked him through it literally on my text on the phone. I watched the stock. I said, "This is what I want you to do," because I was working, and you know, I took another short. I was in another short. That's why I didn't play this as well. I had my money tied in, and I did well. I made like about $1,100. You know, you see it pull back here, bounces, but you see how it never breaks to the high day. So you just had to have the patience. He was a little nervous. I said, "Don't worry, just stay in it until it breaks high. If it breaks high day, you get out. If it doesn't, watch it. It's gonna wash." And sure enough, the stock collapsed. These are the type of, so if you know, if you follow like Tim Sykes and you see how he talks about the Stephen Ducks and Tim Grattani, this is what they do. They look exactly for these plays. They just let them move up. And Modern Rock does the same thing. All these guys, they're like gimmies, you know. You see the gap up. These are dog shit companies, so you know they're gonna give it back, and you just short into the reversal, and you can make some nice easy money. So these are the stocks that I love to play. Now it's on my watch list because, well, sometimes when these stocks spike, they can spike for a couple of days, or they may be a great potential short. So if you see, right, this stock at this point right here is seems to be support level. So you know, if it breaks below this 250 range, it probably gonna wash. You know, this is a stock that was over the last 5 days trading below $2. So at some point, it's gonna be a great short all the way back down if the shares are available. You know, but sometimes what happens is with these stocks, they'll spike in the market open when the market opens for like 2 or 3 consecutive days. That's why it's worth keeping on your watch list, if nothing else. All right, if you're not a short seller, you still should keep it on your watch list just cause they might spike at the open, and you can take a small piece of that. Next up, CLSN. Yeah, this thing, you know, had some sort of offering, and they pulled the offering, and this totally collapsed. Stephen Ducks, I think, shorted this somewhere here, and he made a killing. You know, I didn't short this. I traded something completely different, and I wouldn't have been able to have the shares to short because my Centerpoint account isn't open. You know, I don't think TD Ameritrade had shares to short. And E-Trade, I didn't even check to see if E-Trade. I have an E-Trade account as well. I didn't even bother to look, to be quite honest with you. So I didn't short this. But you know, it more than likely it's done. When the market closes, started gapping up. We'll see what happens. Maybe it has a little spike at the open, and then it, you know, completely washes. This is gonna be a great short though over the next couple of days. If you can find shares to short, this is definitely gonna get back down to that $2 range where you. Interactive Brokers is great for shorting and holding overnight. They just charge you interest on the overnight short, and you can hold pretty much forever, from my understanding. So yeah, so that's why this is on my watch list. WKHS. This is a stock that honestly Tim Sykes had like a whole hour video on it. He's probably pumping it. He probably has shares in it. Who knows? But there's supposed to be some news that they're offering. There's some like company that does you know, a drone shipping. And you know, it closed holding its highs. It's somewhat liquid. If we look at the last year, you know, this was a stock at its highest point, 1030. You know, came down, and it's kind of been in this 185 range. You know, you notice here, it seems to be topping here, but it got up all the way up to like 450 before it completely cracked and found its 243 range. So, you know, it's like in this channel right now. Oops. So it's in this channel right now. You know, if you see. You know, so let's see if it can get past this, you know, 411 range. I don't know. I mean, you know, you may get a pop to 450 tomorrow at the open. So let's see, you know, and that'll be its resistance point. We'll see. If not, and if it comes back down, you could be a great short at 450 if you find shares to short. So let's see what happens. But it's in this range right here, you know, sort of in this range. So we'll see what happens when the market opens tomorrow. That's why it was on my watch list. NK is another stock that, you know, this stock 5 days ago was 428. It's at 652. So, you know, it's one of these stocks that's a little choppy, you know, and the market opened and moved up pretty nicely, had this nice rip up, you know, and then it kind of pulled back to the 9 EMA, and then you had this other bounce, and, you know, it's a little choppy, but, you know, but I put on the watch list because, you know, this thing has been moving over the last few days, and, you know, it continues to go up. You know, its next resistance point seems to be what's the high? This 674. So, you know, if it can break, you know, if it can, it closed at 648, but if it can get past 650, you may get 20 cents of upside before a wash. So we'll see what happens tomorrow at the open. Let's see, HIMX, also another stock on my watch list for tomorrow. You know, it's on my watch list simply because it had this massive spike, you know, and it seems to have found its support level here around the about the 805 mark. Actually, it says right here, what is it? Low there, about the $8 range. So, you know, and it's up. So we'll see what happens. Probably with some news, I don't know. But, you know, I love to, you know, put stocks on my watch list that hold their highs because my expectation is they're going to be volatile. You know, people always ask me the same crazy question. Omar, what do you think about this stock? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what any stock is going to do. My expectation is that, you know, the stock is hopefully will be volatile. The chart will tell me how to play it, you know. So, you know, you gotta see what happens when the market opens. I mean, its next resistance point seems to be 822. So we'll see what happens, you know. We'll see what happens. If we go break 822, you has this 860 range. So we'll see. It was the first green day. We'll see if we get a few others, you know. Next up, FOLD. FOLD, look at this. Nice move, holding its highs. You know, liquid 4.7 million shares traded. Excuse me. You know, if we look at the yearly chart, you know, this is a stock that is close to breaking its yearly high. You know, this is probably, you know, if it can't break that 961, it'd probably be a great short. You know, maybe it taps it, and you know, it doesn't move. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, it's at 643. I mean, my expectation is this is gonna have a nice little wash where you're gonna be able to short because it was $8 5 days ago. It's at 948. 950 is a psychological resistance barrier. I wouldn't be surprised when the market opens tomorrow. This thing pulls back to at least VWAP, which is 923. It might be a great shorting opportunity. So we'll see what happens. Next up, BLCM, another stock that's holding its highs. Not super liquid, but this stock was $9 5 days ago. It's at 11.38 now. So just for that, you know, especially for you swing traders, you know, I try to think of everyone. So when I create these watch lists, so you know, keep an eye on it, see if it's worth investing. I mean, it's had 3 green days, so my expectation is that tomorrow when the market opens, it's probably going to pull back a bit. You know, but doesn't mean it's going to continue to run. It's not very liquid, so I wouldn't take a huge size on this. But you know, you can probably get 1,000 shares and take it short at some point and do okay with it. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it keeps running. So next up, GLYC. This is a stock that was moving before. It closed. It had this crazy spike. And who knows? I don't know if somebody pumped this or there was some news, but just on that and basis of that, we'll see what happens come at the market open. Maybe it pulls back. We'll see. It found its resistance somewhere here at the $12 range, so we'll see what happens. ALJ is another stock that, you know, 1.3 million shares traded. You know, it was at $13 and then it completely crashed all the way to $12.52. And now it's gapping up. It's at that, you know, 1351, that psychological resistance barrier. Let's see, it has a little bit more of gap to fill. So let's see. My expectation is I would be watching to see if this thing can gap up to the 1390 range, 95, 97 range, and then just completely collapse again. And it'll be a tremendous short. So we'll see what happens. MYO was the monster move. This was on my watch list Thursday going into Friday, and this thing went up $8, so it's pretty crazy. You know, it washed right before the close, but this thing probably has more to run. So we'll see what happens. You know, it was a $6 stock, you know, a couple of days ago. So we'll see. You know, my expectation is, you know, you may get another run tomorrow. Let's see what happens. You know, people are going to be paying attention to it. CLDR is another stock that, you know, held its highs, up 8%, 2.3 million shares traded. You know, it's been on this downward trend since the $19 mark. It's at $15, so you know, maybe it continues to run. We'll see what happens. 2.3 million shares traded. the market will tell you, do your homework, see what the stock's all about. You can always go to this analyze area, and it'll link you to the website. Some not every stock will have this information available, but you can always go in and do your research and check out the fundamentals of the stock, see if they have what the valuation is, see if they have any see what the revenues are and all that stuff, so you get an idea, and maybe you take a swing on it. Who knows? CVNA, this is $12 5 days ago. It's $19. This company just launched. It's one of these companies where you'll be able to buy used cars, like almost like a vending machine. That's sort of how it's that's sort of the premise of the company. It's just been running wild. I mean, it has to pull back. I mean, I don't know if tomorrow's the day for the big pullback, but my guess, at some point this thing is going to pull back a few points. So be on the lookout for a nice short opportunity where you're going to make at least 2-3 points. He has to show him back, but I don't know if tomorrow's that day. Maybe this continues to move, so keep an eye out. PBF is another stock that gapping up, holding its highs. My expectation is look at this gap fill. You got another 20 cents before it pulls back, but this is probably going to present a nice shorting opportunity tomorrow. I mean, you might get a pop at the open too to take it long, but we'll see. OMER, this is a stock that I've traded several times. A monster. This thing moves. It's one of those low float runners. So is the PBF. I'm sorry. OMER is not a low float. I'm sorry, but this thing acts like a low float where it's very volatile. You gotta be careful when you trade this stock. But this stock was $15 5 days ago to $25 today. I mean, it's crazy. Like, these movers, like, just insane. People think all these penny stocks are the stocks that move, but no, I'm showing you proof that these $15 stocks, $10 stocks, sometimes $20, $20 stocks, they move, man, in points. So let's see what happens tomorrow. My expectation, I would, nobody really knows, but if you look at the year, look how overextended this thing is. This has to come back down. I don't know if tomorrow's the day, but man, when this thing pulls back, it is gonna pull back hard. So just keep an eye out on it. All right. Next up, HIIQ. Another stock that's been running, was out $20 up to $24. We'll see what happens with that. Next up, EVH, another stock that's on my watch list. Look at this with this winning. Sometimes a lot of plays. When a stock opens and it pulls back, it finds support, and you see it start gapping. If it breaks the previous day's close price, that's called a red to green play. When a stock breaks above the previous day's close price, a lot of times it's a buy sign, and you could take a trade on it, risking the previous day's close price. And look at this thing, just ripped. Just ripped all day. See what happens tomorrow. Next up, DK. So a lot of these are the $20 stock range, and I know it's out of a lot of people's price points, but even 100 shares, guys, it could get you a few $100. This gap fill here, look at this. It's at 26.74. It has more room to go, 27.72. So maybe it continues to move up. We'll see. All right. NANO, is up to 28. Had this crazy spike at the open from 25.42 all the way up to $28. And they had this nice wash and bounce. So we'll see what happens with that. And the last stock is FNSR, which is had this nice move from 27, found its high at 28. And these are the stocks, let me just move this, that I love to short. Like, when a stock has this kind of range where it just like slowly gaps up, all day. And if you look at the one, you can see, like, you see these bull flag pullbacks. So right when it pulls back here, you see how it bounces off VWAP right here. That's your entry right here. You have these little micro pullbacks, but when you get these big pullbacks like this, and you see how it bounces off to 20, that's an entry. But you gotta know that at some point there's gonna be a wash. So you gotta be real careful with these. But what I love to do is watch these stocks have these moves up, and then at some point, usually like by 1 o'clock, but this actually the reversal happened at 11. So at 11 o'clock, look, it hits its high of day. You see the doji, and let me just zoom out a bit, and then you get the wash. So let's zoom out. So you see it like sort of double tops here, which is the a bearish sign when the stock. So the high of day is acting as resistance now, and you see it goes up, pulls down, goes up, tops it again, and then this is what I love to short into. So when I see that, when I see that it sells off and it bounces and it taps, but it doesn't come back right here in this candle right here. Let me zoom in a little more. So right here, that lower high right here after the double tap, so right, taps here, pulls back, taps again, pulls back, and then you see how it hits the lower high here, but it doesn't break. Right here is where I would have shorted. I would have took a short entry, just risking the higher day, risking literally a penny. See if, or maybe just to say I'll risk 23.01. If it breaks above 23.01, a few cents, I'm out. And you could have shorted this for a nice wash all the way down. Shorting is so much less stress than longing, guys. I'm telling you, it's so much less stress. Let me tell you something. All these retail traders that you see are doing so well, if they were just long, like if there was no such thing as shorting, the probability of retail traders that are successful in the market would be like 1%. Because it's so hard, like, to long, and no, it's so much harder to day trade and going long. I mean, at least that's my opinion. So these are the stocks on my watch list, folks. I'm sorry again about earlier. I went into a lot more detail, but it's late, and just want to unwind. So I promised I'd redo the video. So hope you have a great evening. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers in in the community. And tomorrow, let's get busy. Money.